Good evening, everybody. My name is Craig Bryant, and I am your child's orchestra teacher for first period Cobra Orchestra. Welcome to Back to School Night. I wish we could be visiting in person, but I totally get it, and this is probably the best way. Hopefully, you've been getting my emails home at the kind of end of every week, kind of outlining what we did that week and maybe some next steps. If you're not getting those, please shoot me an email. I'll mention that at the end of the slideshow here. But I want to say a welcome and a thank you for everybody for getting prints in hands. We're well on our way, and I'm excited for this school year. Tonight, I just want to give you kind of like a little taste of what we've been doing in the classroom. And I'll keep it pretty brief because I know you're going to see a lot of these tonight. As you may or may not know, I am also the high school band teacher, and I teach the middle school orchestra classes. We have our Cobra Orchestra here with about 22 students, our middle school 7th and 8th grade orchestra with 15 students, and the high school orchestra with about 30 students. And for the orchestra program, we kind of meet in kind of like a hybrid. So sometimes it's just the grade level classes. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. And then we're also doing kind of small group instruction with a coach and our high school mentors as well. It's kind of a unique program. I've been teaching here in Albany now for 15 years, and I'm teaching the instrumental classes at the middle school, or the orchestra classes at the middle school for about 9 or 10 years. Some of the kids that I first started have graduated college now, and we have a really special thing. It's unique, but I'm thrilled to be involved with it, and I'm glad that your kids are with me. In the course of a given week, like especially on a Monday, I'll see about 200 students. I'm doing my best to learn names with masks. It's very challenging, and we're doing all we can do. But it's so much better than being on Zoom, and I always keep that in my mind as we head into class each day. Just a little bit about daily life in our music class. We have a wide range of students, student experience in our class. Especially for orchestra classes, you'll get students who've taken private lessons since elementary school, or I get freshmen in high school who have only played for a year or two. Many students I start in 6th grade. So we have a wide range, and we take everybody where they are, and we make an ensemble. That's the point of playing in an orchestra. Some of my more technically advanced students, when they get to play in an orchestra, that's a whole different set when you're playing with somebody else, rather than playing solo or in like a private lesson setting. So it's a different kind of thing. We are all about creating a culture and a safe space for your student and making great music. During our first couple of months together, we spend a lot of time for everybody refreshing and relearning the basics of music reading, rhythm, note reading, and independence of parts as a musician. We'll do that by working through method books. We have small group instruction, as I mentioned. I have Sharon Kalanico from the Oakland Symphony coming to work with your students once a week. And then we have our Mentor Mondays, where our high school students are going to work with your students kind of in a one-on-one private lesson or kind of group lesson setting. And then, of course, as we progress through the year, we're working through the method book and playing ensemble pieces together as a full orchestra. Some web resources I want to kind of plug you towards. Obviously, our Google Classroom, that's where I'm going to keep all of our kind of printed resources. For example, right now we're working through the first unit of a method book called Sound Innovations. And it teaches us how to play all the open strings, how to hold the instrument, how to hold the bow, and play in the key of D major, kind of the first key for orchestra students. And your students all have a printed packet, but if they would ever lose it, it's going to be there in the Google Classroom. And as we go through towards concert time, like our concert pieces will be posted there, maybe with like a sample recording and stuff like that. I won't do any grading inside of Google Classroom. It's merely for resources. Our Aries is where the grading is done. I typically do about 90% of my grade is just daily participation. And then as we get closer to the concerts, I'll talk a little bit more about that. The number one thing your child can do is be in class and participate. I mean, they're choosing to be there. All our 6th graders are choosing to be there before as an extra period, and do your best, be there and show up and have fun. Our next resource I would point you to is albanymusic.org. That is the home of Albany Music Fund, which is a group of parents, teachers, and students in Albany, which is dedicated to providing outstanding support, both financially and then through advocacy to music students in Albany. They provide all of the resources that we deal with. Our school district provides the space and the teacher salary and some help, but mostly all the things that are extra in the music program come from you, the Albany Music Fund. So welcome. You're a member by default, but if you're looking to get involved further, please let me know. And you can support us via social media. If you visit us, Instagram is at Albany or Facebook.com/Albany Music Fund. This gives a advocacy to musicians in the Albany Unified School District. It's a place you can kind of see like our concert posters or advertisements or some of our live streams from previous concerts. And you can share them with family and friends. Being visible helps us be relevant, as you know. So I hope you'll check us out on there. One of the questions I've gotten already from a couple of parents, and I want to be upfront with you, I think private lessons are the best investment you can make in your student. This is going to be the theme of my Friday email coming up. But most of, there's so much that goes in, especially the first couple of years of playing an instrument. If you set that foundation, especially with some one-on-one attention, it's pretty special. So I think if you have the ability at all to get private lessons, it can help you kind of frame practice like, this is what I need to work on differently than you're going to get in the big group class. And it individualizes the instruction, like, your left hand technique needs to work or your bow hold. And they can address some of the things about, your instrument and specifically to your physical instrument is so physical. Getting students set up for success is really important. We're super fortunate to have tons of great teachers in the Albany-Berkeley area. I can refer you to some people. Just shoot me an email. And the other thing is, I would say everybody kind of has like their own level of risk still at this point about whether you want to be in person or not. Obviously, one-on-one is a lot, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But if you're at all interested in Zoom lessons, I know a fair amount of people are still teaching on Zoom. And they work pretty well once you kind of get your setup. I think people have a good sense of how to make that work. Obviously, in person is more ideal, especially because we're dealing with, issues of space and moving. And if you imagine like a baseball player, like working on their swing, it's not unlike that for young string players. I mentioned Albany Music Fund to you earlier this evening. You can visit us at albanymusic.org. To give you some idea, just a snapshot, they've already purchased $10,000 worth of new instruments and equipment for Albany Middle School and High School this year alone. We're going to use more technology. I feel like a smoke day or an unfortunate like kind of partial quarantine or something like that is going to be necessary at some point. And so we're just trying to have resources that we can kind of pick up the pieces and still maintain progress, even if we have to pivot at a last minute. If you're at all able, please visit us. Check out our website. We have a brand new logo. It looks amazing. It's kind of celebrating our 20th anniversary as an organization, which is pretty incredible. Give us a like on Instagram or Facebook. And if you would like to get involved, we meet once a month, second Saturday of the month, and Saturday mornings. You can just come check it out. It's not and see what it's all about. We, as I like to say, many hands make light work. And if you want to support your child, please come check us out. That's all I have for you tonight. If you have questions, please shoot me an email. I'll keep up my weekly updates. I just want to say thanks for entrusting me with your children. I love coming to school each day. I'm glad we're back in person. I take it seriously how safe we need to be at school because I have two young ones of myself at home. It's not like flip a switch and we're back to normal at school yet. It's going to take work. And I'm just so proud of what we're able to do thus far this year. Your students are very helpful, very understanding, and we're moving the ball already. So anyway, thanks for your time. Have a great evening and have a great rest of back to school night 2021. Good night.